Alright, so once again, here I am, making a video that I never thought I'd be making, and frankly, just to get this clear to everybody watching, you should never have to make excuses or answer for your political or personal beliefs to anybody, especially when they correlate your questioning a narrative or a belief as your predominantly blatant endorsement of fascism, Nazism, racism, hatred, when it quite clearly is not. You should never have to make excuses for that. Be it to trolls on Twitter or a liberal media personality like Chris Cuomo, who has now decided to personally identify me as a Nazi supporter and a Trumper. So let's frame this clearly. I do not support Nazis, and nobody does. However, and this is what needs to be made clear, nobody should tacitly endorse political violence by anybody. And by anybody, I mean white supremacists, white militias, white nationalist militias, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Black Bloc, the list goes on and on. This is not something that should be tacitly endorsed from anybody. And for you to sit here and question me, and question my understanding of a struggle of any people is a joke. Because you lose your moral high ground when you engage in violence. To say that I cannot draw an equivalence between white nationalists and violent Black Lives Matter members, is ignorant. Because where is your litmus test for unacceptable political violence? Because it seems like Chris Cuomo seems to think that murder is that litmus test. So that's where we're headed here in this country now. There's some moral level field to declare somebody a threat to the moral and social fiber of this country. Really. And he's going to come up with some half-cockneyed attitude. Well, that's not really what I was saying. I was just saying that, they threw the first gauntlet. Nobody should accept murder. Nobody should accept violence of any form. Antifa and Black Lives Matter have attempted to kill people, have seriously maimed and injured people, blinded people, stabbed people, given people concussions, knocked them unconscious, broken bones, sprayed them with acid, sprayed them with mace, sprayed them with pepper spray, beat them with flagpoles. So where do you draw the line of acceptability in this? And this is the problem, because this should have been shut down on day one, on both sides. Be it violence at a Trump rally or violence on the street via Black Lives Matter. But no, there is this tacit, they're an oppressed people. There's this, there's that. There has to be an understanding. There's an understanding that if you're an aggrieved person, you state your grievances, have somebody address them, you appeal to a greater audience, but you don't do it with violence. And this is the glaring issue, because now we have a left-leaning media that seems to not even quietly, they are tacitly endorsing violence. When you can watch CNN, when you can watch other left-leaning media kind of allude to engaging in coups and violent overthrows and political assassinations, you are tacitly endorsing politically motivated violence. You're, in many ways, just as bad as the Nazis in Charlottesville. You are becoming the moral equivalent of them when you tacitly endorse, be it via some form of inane humor or some misguided sense of, I don't even know what. Because I can't fathom the idea of perpetuating your beliefs via a vein of violence and think that it's anywhere near acceptable. Nothing ever equates violence to political movement. There's nothing. Nothing excuses it. And when you try to use, one of the most laughable things I've read so far is because I had a grimacing face and my Twitter handle is Arc Lives Matter, which by the way is a parody of a video game, that I'm somehow a neo-Nazi. I challenge you, find any evidence at all that I am a neo-Nazi. And then we go on the other vein of, well, you're a Trumper and a Republican. No, I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't vote Republican. In fact, I haven't voted the whole time I've been alive. And now you're going to say, oh, well, you can't have a voice if you don't vote. No. See, here's the thing. You're making parallels based on my physical appearance and my skin tone as a racist identifier for my political beliefs, my personal beliefs, and my political affiliations, all of which are incorrect. I did not vote for Trump. Trump was not my choice for candidate. He wasn't even the Republican that I thought should have been nominated. However, on the flip side, neither was Hillary, neither was Bernie Sanders, and neither was a whole slew of the other clowns that were paraded on stage for the American people to go, oh my God, this is what we're left with. So again, Chris Cuomo, what is your litmus test for parallel equating two violent extremist groups? And the other thing we need to really hammer in home here is neo-Nazis represent less than 1/25 of the population of this country. If they are such a threat, why the hell hasn't our government stepped in and done something? Same thing goes with Antifa and Black Lives Matter. If they are such a tangible threat, the largest threat to American safety, why hasn't something been done about it? Because it no longer falls under the vein of free speech. When you engage in violence, when you engage in murder, when you engage in an intent to cause physical harm, to attempt to overthrow a government by violence, you lose your rights in this country. So why has nothing been done? If this is such an emergent and growing threat, why do you cover it so regularly? If they are such a minority, such a small, barely heard minority, why are they now plastered all over your media every damn day? Their pictures paraded everywhere, their symbols. And while we're on the topic of symbols too, those who try to forget the past are doomed to repeat it. Half the people in this country wouldn't even be able to identify an actual Confederate monument if you paraded them in front of it. Even with the placard right on the bottom that says Confederate soldier Robert E. Lee. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's where we're failing. That is where we're failing in this country because we've lost our will to keep ourselves informed, to keep ourselves guided in a direction that is better for this country. You're seeking division at every turn. A white man was elected, so now suddenly he's evil, he's racist. It's awfully odd because when Barack Obama was elected, I don't recall hearing hardly anybody say that. Again, they were a very vocal minority. So again, before you go around and place labels on people without information, do your due diligence. Especially you, Chris Cuomo, as an actual media personality. Because you're not a professional, you're a personality. That needs to be made very clear. CNN is not a news organization. NBC is not a news organization. The Associated Press is not a news organization. Well, they may get a pass because they're not televised. But you are a media personality. You are not a professional. And that needs to be said. You are not a professional. You don't do your due diligence. You are now following a narrative, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting because you're not fair and balanced, and you now prove it every day.